Hello, my name is Blanca Pedrola. I'm an architect in Spain. I work as an architect. Um, I'm going to tell you a little bit about um, our memories about the pandemic. We are a family of four people. Me, I'm an architect. My husband is an engineer. We have two small daughters. One is 4 years old. The other one is 1 year old. We are 39 years old, if that's data that tells you something. We live in a big house. It has 250 square meters, more or less, and we have a garden of 80 square meters. We live in Valencia, where the weather is pretty good, but we had like 1-2 weeks of rain days during the pandemic. The first 15 days of the pandemic, we remember them as a moment of happiness for the family. Our two little daughters, it was the first time as a family together, as a family of four together for more than 2 days, more than the weekend. So it was really, really a good time to enjoy. The two daughters got to know each other like more. So it was good, and something that we usually we often talk about is that maybe thanks to the pandemic, they don't have jealousy of each other because they got to know each other, and it was a good time for the family and to build nice relationships. Those 15 days, we were not in a hurry. We felt like we were on vacations. We didn't have to go anywhere. We didn't have to meet anyone. So it was a super nice time for the family. So I had to admit that those 15 days we learned some lessons of how to live after the pandemic. After those 15 days, it became harder. Why? Because we had to work. We did home office. We worked from home, but it was difficult with the two daughters. So what we did is we split, both of us, my husband and I, in time slots of 2 hours. So every 2 hours, one of us was taking care of the children, and the other one was working. And this was for the whole day till they went to sleep, our children, and we had to do all the housekeeping tasks that we normally in our daily routines don't do, but we didn't have the help of anyone at home. So we had to do all the laundry, cleaning, cooking for the next day, and so on. So in the end, and this was a very intense time. We both are very positive people, so we took out the best of ourselves to withstand with this atypical situation. So I had to admit that we were like singing, playing, making activities with the children, so they were happy, and we could have a nice day, even though it was March and we were like playing with water outside in the garden. So we were making a big effort for being happy. But after the lockdown, when we were able to go outside and see people, all this effort that we did during the lockdown was like we felt overwhelmed of what happened before during the time. And we still remember it like a first moment of happiness, but after that, like making a big effort to be happy and to be strong together, and to make this big effort so the children were happy and didn't notice like some things were not going as well as it was before. So lessons learned about the pandemic, or things that happened after the pandemic. This overwhelming feeling that we passed through a hard time. So So it's a feeling like we don't want to go lockdown again. If a second confinement, a second lockdown was put into place in Spain, would be put into place in Spain, I don't think we would be as happy as we were in the first lockdown. We won't be as resilient as we were before. Things that happen is that my time at work got reduced 25%. For my husband, things were okay, so no changes at work. For the children, I think they were happy at home with us, and they didn't notice or they didn't need so much, because for them it was a happy time. Although first days when we could go outside, it was surprising how they were enjoying, for example, to be in the stroller and to see the trees and people. They were surprised when they were seeing other people in the street. But little by little, they got used again, and I don't think it has affected them emotionally. With the family, we missed a lot the family, because in Spain we usually see them every 2 weekends or so, and we have lunch together in a weekly basis, more or less. So I think for grandparents was a harder time than for us, because we were so busy with taking care of the little children. And emotionally, it's for us, what I feel is our government were not did not pay attention or cover the needs of the children. I don't understand why we couldn't go outside in the street, fulfilling all the other measures, because I think it's a right for the children to get some sun, to walk, and to see the outside world a little bit. And this, I feel a little bit angry with the measures taken by our government, although I understand the reasons. More or less, that's it. Well, I forgot to tell you about the neighbors, and this was also something to remember in the future. I live in a little town in the outskirts of Valencia, not in the city, but in a residential area. I live in an urbanization, or in an area where we are like around 20 houses, and we share a common private space with a swimming pool and some garden. This was locked during the lockdown, so we couldn't use this common space. But every house has a small garden, so all the houses had a garden. The community of neighbors, we have a group of WhatsApp, and it was super nice seeing how, when one of us was going to the supermarket or the pharmacy, we're asking the others, do you need something? I'm going to the pharmacy so you don't have to go outside. Or, for example, one of the neighbors is a doctor, so he was offering himself or herself to the others. If you need something, I'm here, and so on. So it was really bonding with the neighbors. It was a nice time for putting the best of ourselves. After the lockdown was a little bit difficult, a little bit different, as, for example, the use of the common space. There was no legal framework of legalizing the use or not use of this common space, so some discussions were arose after the lockdown. This was also different for the city of Valencia. It was nice seeing, for example, in Spain, there was a big movement in the balconies. So more or less all in the city centers, the typology of buildings are blocks with balconies. So there were several times during the day where there was like a program for the neighbors to go outside in the balcony, to clap to do up, like to clap for the doctors and the heroes of the pandemic. They were saying there was another time for singing a famous Spanish song that talks about resiliency and resistance and so on. So this was like really nice seeing, or people going in the balcony to play the guitar, or another one uh, to paint, for example, a rainbow and put it on the balcony. So it was really, really nice seeing how the people were using the balcony to talk to each other, to express themselves, to bond with the others, to clap together, and to not feel alone during this time. This was in the city, but this wasn't where I live. We knew about the program, but the distance between houses don't allow to visual contact between neighbors. So we didn't have these nice activities going on. And I missed a little bit knowing that this was happening in the city and that we were not feeling together in the family houses. Um, well, that's more or less about it.